Hey guys, it's Bridget with San Diego Seed Company, and I'm super excited to be on the farm with you checking out my maters. So we're gonna look at our low and lean system in its prime, in its beauty, when it's really spitting out a lot of tomatoes. I'm gonna review the low and lean method, what it is, how you use it, and talk a lot about why we love it. It is one of our most popular videos that we have on YouTube, so make sure you do check it out. But before I get into all of that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you're notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so we have this awesome, huge, long row of tomatoes. This is our beautiful Jean Flamme. You can see that these plants are literally dripping with tomatoes. I mean, they're hanging, it's amazing. And now this is a commercial growing system, the low and lean, and it's used by commercial growers because it's an easy way to harvest regularly and often and have a successive amount of tomatoes ready pretty much at all times. So I want to show you guys what it looks like and then also what the next step is, because a lot of times when we shoot these videos, maybe my tomatoes aren't to the lean part. And so now I'm gonna show you what the lean is in the low and lean. So you can see down below here, we've got all of these pieces that we've actually pruned off. You can see that we've clipped them. So at one point I had tomatoes down here. Those have all been harvested, and you keep following it up, you keep following it up. Now I've got just tons of tomatoes hanging on here. I will continue to harvest these. As I harvest, I will prune off all of this bottom stuff, because it's old. It's likely has a lot of pest issues. It's not new, prime, beautiful foliage. Get rid of it. So I'm gonna prune that off, and I'm gonna keep coming up, and now I'm to the top where you can see actually where the plant clip is. So we've gotten to the point where this is actually grown all the way up to the top of our trellis. So at this point, I wanna take advantage of all the extra growing space I have in the Tomahook with the string by tying it up one more time. So I'm gonna take these plant clips and I'm actually going to attach it to the plant. It's always a good idea to attach it below a really strong node. You don't wanna attach these plant clips where you are constricting the whole tomato like this and really squishing it. You really want it to be right below a section where it can really handle it. So at this point, see what just happened? We just leaned. We lowered and we leaned, okay? I'm gonna add another one on here too, just for safety. Add this guy here. Again, I'm clipping it right beneath a really strong node so that it's gonna hold the tomato really nicely. So you can see here, it's leaning out of the way. It is a lot lower than where it was. It's not growing over this trellis. And in theory, I have as much space as I have string on here. So there's 40 feet of string on here. So I have a 40-foot tall trellis that is available to me to use. This plant is gonna continue to grow up because it's going to be reaching for the sunlight. And the tomatoes that are down below are gonna continue to ripen, and I'm just gonna come through and keep on harvesting. That is what the low and lean system is in a nutshell. It works really well for tomatoes. Like, this is a good example of a tomato that does great on the system because they ripen in clusters, and it is a viney, indeterminate crop. What that means is that it grows really viney and long, and so it's really hard to trellis with other methods. And it's indeterminate, meaning it's gonna give you tomatoes over a long period of time. So this is a great system for it because it's gonna hold it up. It's gonna be really nice and neat. If you're a tidy gardener, this is totally for you. And it's gonna make it very easy to harvest. So out of all the fields of tomatoes that we have here on the farm, which we have, you know, probably 20, 25 varieties of tomatoes that are all trellised in different methods, this is by far my favorite because it's the cleanest, easiest to keep up with weeds, and the easiest to harvest. I take a bucket, I go through here, I come down, I harvest everything that is ready, and then I know in 2 or 3 weeks, the next ones that are on here are going to be ready. I go through, I harvest. It's a really awesome system. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, I'm not a commercial grower, why would I do this? Well, if you are a backyard grower with very limited space, this is it. This is the system for you because you can take advantage of vertical space versus building a trellis that is really long and wide and having to come up with all the material to do that. Over the decades of me gardening, I've done it all. I've used Missouri weave, or Florida weave, Missouri weave, Cali weave, all the weaves. I have tried different cattle panels. I've done it all. They all have some benefits, but this system by far, in a small space garden where you don't have a lot of space outwards, but you can go up, it is the neatest, and it will produce the most prolific tomatoes when you're working specifically with indeterminate tomatoes that are very viney, like many of your heirloom varieties. So if you don't believe me, just take a look at these amazing vines. Look at how many tomatoes I have hanging here. We have harvested buckets upon buckets upon buckets of these tomatoes, and they're still going strong, and in theory, they're gonna grow 40 feet tall if we let them. And so for me, this should sell the system easily enough just by looking at it. All right, so no system is perfect. There are downfalls to everything. Part of being a really good gardener or a farmer is understanding how you balance two different needs, right? So this is great for all the reasons that I've said, but let's talk about some of the downfalls. One thing is you need some type of sturdy structure for this to grow on. I'm sure many of you guys have seen the Trellis to make you jealous. That is a very popular trellis system. You can do that. This is actually old scaffolding that we found in the junk pile at the farm that we've used. But you have to have something that is strong, sturdy, and is going to be able to hold up the weight of the tomatoes. The other part of this that is kind of a bummer is it takes more work. I'm not gonna lie. You do have to build the structure, put the tomato hooks up, clip it up, and then you have to stay on top of pruning. You need to continuously prune off the suckers on here so that you have one strong leader, and so that everything can continue to ripen in succession and it's not getting sidelined by the suckers. So that's important, and it takes a lot of effort. But one thing that I've learned, especially in this first year, full year on our new farm, work on the front end is always gonna be profit or harvest on the back end. So anything that you do in the beginning to try to make things neat, tidy, easy to harvest, it's gonna make a really big difference. So you have to make a decision in your garden what makes the most sense for you. But for us, this is one of the best systems we've come across.